All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here. Ms. Peck, I know it was a Herculean effort. It's been a very bizarre day. But I'm moving on. So thanks for letting us share what we call college and beyond, where we're talking about preparing you for life after university school. So that means college, workforce, and afterwards. So thank you so much. So this is a two-part presentation. It'll be me and then Sara Peck, who's our Director of College Counseling and Special Learning Activities as well too. You may or may not know Niche is a company that is the standard for evaluating schools as a platform for parents, both K through 12 and also college. And University School is the top-ranked private school in Charleston, and I think we're the number 3 private school in South Carolina. That's based on outcomes, meaning the things that you pick up here and how they're demonstrated in a measurable way. So that's really, really cool, and we're proud of that. This is our mission as a reminder. So it should sound familiar to many people who've encountered our students, and should be familiar to our students and faculty as well, which is compassion, right? You think about the things that we've been involved in all this year and our entire time, working really hard that for us to be able to do school in 4 days and then have experiential learning as well. Curious, right? We had an open house last night reminding us that a classroom filled with curious students is different than one that includes people who don't really want to be there, right? And that can measurably impact your ability to learn. Kindness, right? This is a small school. This is something that a couple of us who shared the school the other day, reminding us that a tight-knit community, that you don't have to worry about things that can plague you in a larger environment where maybe behavior that can detract from your ability to learn. Courageous, right? Brave, trying new things, getting out of your comfort zone, more important than ever after the past couple of years, that we make sure that we are instilling in you bravery and the ability to speak up for yourselves, not just in a classroom, but beyond these walls. And we want you to be resilient, right? The world is so interesting, and you can either look at it and sort of be afraid, or you can look at it as filled with opportunities, right? And that's what we want for you. And we want you steadily moving beyond this campus the way our upper schoolers do. And we want you to learn with joy, enjoy all the excitement I've heard about the Pennsylvania trip, the upcoming Winter Explorations Faith. Take advantage of these opportunities to think about things that are important to you, and let us partner with you so you can lead with vision. And again, serve other people, which is what our school is filled with. And that's something that's as important as anything, is that you're becoming really good people and good members of your community. So these are just pictures of our high schoolers, right? You can see this is what inside of a college classroom looks like, right, today here at the College of Charleston. I love this one of Declan and Liam, because that's Declan and Liam about to take a cybersecurity class. But there's Liam in his welding class too, right? So these are things beyond our campus. And then here's Maciel, Riley, and Arabella carpooling to one of their college classes. A lot of joy and excitement in what they're doing in ways that we can't see. And we're at peace with that, because it means that they are learning to navigate their world themselves. Yes, we have a school, we have classrooms, we have amazing teachers, right? All sorts of wonderful things that happen here. But also, the opportunities off campus are compelling. So the school is small, but the world is large, for you to encounter lots of different people who can inspire you and give you guidance and let you know, like, that was a good question. And it's not one of your teachers, and it's not your parents, but it's someone out in the community saying, you are doing well, and that's super valuable. So these are just some of the things from the fall. This is the 9/11 silent walk on the Ravenel Bridge here with a retired firefighter. Learning about the Ace Basin by actually going to the Ace Basin, right? Which is what we did here back in September. And then taking part in a naturalization ceremony as we watch the final steps of people who are completing the process of becoming an American citizen. It's both deeply emotional, it involves lots of different levels of government and nonprofits, and everyone has their own story, similar to a story that we all probably have as our families made their way to America. It is changing rapidly, and your parents want the best for you. We want the best for you. Their experience in college is somewhat similar to what's happening now in the workforce, but it's also changing in a crazy fast fashion. And these are things that the professionals in the room and us from leaving campus have been able to see. So it's gone. The old way is gone, where maybe college was less expensive. It's more expensive, right? There's people calling into question the value of a college degree. The workforce is changing quickly. I'm sure your parents and people out in the community are worried about what does AI mean. It's both exciting and it's kind of terrifying a little bit. The funding models have really been changed in a negative way over the past couple of years. So it's important that you arrive at college or in your workforce ready to go, because it may not happen that the development of skills that you're hoping for will happen the way it might have occurred for your parents. And staffing. There are less people working in higher education to navigate you through because of the changes that are all rippling through here. What does that mean? This is something that we pay a lot of attention to. This is a report from last month in the Chronicle of Higher Education. Students are learning less, studying less, skipping class more, and yet their grades go up. I don't know how we found ourselves in this, but this is something that's happening now. So you would go, oh, I'm doing well in college. And then when you graduate, right, then you arrive in the workforce and they're like, you don't have the skills that you need that maybe your parents might have had to navigate the world now. So this is an indication that something is off, and it's terribly off. And what we're saying is we are forecasting ahead. We can see this. We're adjusting some of the things that we do and also continuing some of the things that we've done since our founding that are timeless and powerful for you. So there is this broken connection, right, that it's hard to detect sometimes, right? You see your child going to school, you see your child going to college, and then you're thinking that certain things are happening. You're just gonna have to be a little bit more deliberate, and that's what the school is about. It's a small school, tight-knit, teachers who know you well, trying to make sure that we're giving you the experiences and opportunities you need so that you can thrive without your parents and without us, especially skills. This is sort of, you're in school now. Maybe you don't think about this stuff, but some of you do think about what will my child do, what will I do when I'm out of high school and I'm right into work, or I'm out of college. Well, younger employees, what's happening with them in college is not in any way matching what employers are looking for. So it says, graduates are often unprepared for a less structured environment. Doesn't that sound like university school a little bit? Structured and also unstructured, right? They cannot navigate workplace cultural dynamics, which means working with people who are different than you, something that we talk about and we work on all the time through our experiences. And the expectation of autonomous work, which means, can I do work without someone telling me what to do all the time? So if you're in an environment where you're constantly being told what to do and you never have any independent agency, that must be really hard for you in work, right? So then it says, although they may have some theoretical knowledge from college, they lack practical, real-world experience because they've been inside of a classroom and never really been off campus, which is something that our school makes sure that you spend lots and lots of time of, especially as you get older. And they lacked soft skills required to succeed in the work environment. Those are people skills, speaking up skills, public speaking skills, team building skills, forging relationships with people you don't know, right? These are things that we practice all the time here at university school. So this difference isn't always visible in high school, but it's seen now in grades and standardized tests the last couple of years. The AP, SAT, ACT, some of these words are words that many of us know well, some are less familiar with. This is the average grade of first-year students in college. What was their average in high school? Back in 1965, right, less than 25% of first-year students in college had an A average from high school. Now we're up to 85% of first-year students in the 2,000 colleges that America has that have an A average. But how can it be that colleges and workforces are saying these students are unprepared? They aren't able to read books. They're not able to have sustained attention. They're not able to work with people differently than you. Something bizarre is happening, and we're telling you that we're not abiding it here and that we've accounted for it. So this is truly interesting and amazing. It's been just a general trek up over the last 60 years. These are scores for APs, right? 20 years ago, less than 60% of students in the English language and composition AP exam got a 3. Now it's approaching 80%. They've all come up, but we know that students aren't doing as well, and we know that schools are having a hard time. So what can this mean? It means that they've rescaled them. So if you take these exams and you're working really hard, you may not realize it, but they're easier than they were, and you get a sense that I'm doing great, but maybe you're not. And that is not good for us to give a false sense of how you're doing to our young people. It's not right and it's not fair. And our school is taking that on. It's across the board in both humanities, math, and science AP exams. So this is unbiased. This is the federal government's statistics where they administer tests across the country to public and private students to gauge how are they doing over time. Basically the same test for many, many decades. And you can see there's been a cratering, right? Since 2009, 2013, we're at the lowest point the country's ever been for our 12th graders. They're performing and knowing the least they've ever known. But yet, and again, I'm not sure if you're following me, the grades are the highest they've ever been. And the AP and other scores are saying that they're really good. I hope that you're able to follow this. It's a mismatch, and so it's not working. So sometimes you'll think, I'm doing great. I've got a friend who takes 6 AP classes. They've done really well. It's likely that they haven't learned as much as their parents have, and they have a false sense of how they're doing. And that's devastating, and it's unacceptable. And America's young people across the board, public and private schools across this country, deserve better than this. So our school, we have a mission and a purpose, right? And it's to address this and create young people who are independent and can stand on their own 2 feet without the assistance of their parents or teachers beyond their time here. And we offer rich experiences both on and off campus. Our program has not diminished since COVID. And students are empowered and gain confidence by operating the world. They're not sheltered in an aquarium. And what I mean by that is there's many large, interesting high schools in the area, and you arrive there in 9th grade, and you're like, wow, there's 1,500 people, 2,000 people. It's exciting. After a year or two, you realize you're not going anywhere else. You're going to be there with those same people, and your experiences will be limited to what's offered on that campus. Even at a certain time, you'll be exhausted by it. We want to make sure that you're leaving campus and encountering different people, and that includes extending your relationship network through work, through the local colleges that you're taking classes offered by college teachers, and people that you connect with through job shadows and learning outside the classroom experiences. So our students do really well, right, in college. These are 3 of our seniors from last year who all got perfect 4.0s in the fall semester, which meant they were presidential scholars for that semester, which is really cool. It means getting college recommendations from college professors. I just want to remind you, our middle school is like high school, like 9th and 10th grade. Our high school is like college, where classes don't meet every day, right? And then as you get older, you start leaving. College professors are not high school teachers at local high schools. They are connected to industry, they're connected to job opportunities, and they're doing research generally. That's no knock on anybody. That's just the way it is. So our students do best doing college style and then moving out into college. And then instead of wondering how you might do in college, having a college professor actually tell you, you know what, you're doing great. I can't even believe you're a high school student, but you might be the best student in my class. That is confidence building for our students to go forward. Our school is small, but we have students who are allowed to do sports at their local high schools, even though the school doesn't field sports teams. So you can see here 3 of our students who are playing tennis and cross country for the high school that they're zoned for. So they can have that experience as well. Again, 30 guest speakers per year, making sure that you're learning about how people were young people and then arriving at that profession. It's not always a straight line. Sometimes it's a curved path, and that you should constantly be introduced to people that you wouldn't normally encounter, because there might be professions that you hadn't heard of or that might really strike a chord with you. Incredible faculty, right? In the high school alone, we have 2 state teachers of the year. That's out of the 160 independent schools in South Carolina, which is really awesome. There's Ms. Peck, Ms. Thompson. And we're making sure that you have rare and needed skills, not just classes. One of the craziest things sometimes to think about is you take a class in 9th grade, which is what my experience was, and then no one ever asks you about that content again. So it basically just goes away. So constantly refreshing and making sure you have a large and growing pool of knowledge, that's going to give you the critical thinking you need, which is going to make you invaluable in the world of AI. Service during the school day, family style with your teachers, so it becomes a habit of your heart, not something you get out of the way or just check a box on. So that's really important as well. Connecting through conversations. Here you can see some of our high school students talking to a Clemson engineering professor and the Consul General of Atlanta for Canada at an event this past spring about Canada and South Carolina partnering together largely about nuclear energy. Those opportunities mean you're not just talking to your age peers and you're not just talking to your teachers, but it's a whole nother group of people to give you insight and inspiration. And life skills, right? Here's one of our high school students teaching Red Cross. Again, we want first responders, people who are ready to intervene beyond this campus and on, and learning the safety skills that our students need to navigate here on campus, on field trips, at the College of Charleston or the College of Building Arts, and then beyond, right? So that you can feel like you're safe and you would know what to do in an emergency. And visiting lots and lots of colleges all across the world. We have graduates overseas, we have graduates in South Carolina, we have graduates all across the country. So it means visiting schools in Canada, right? The Midwest, New England, all over on a cycle, probably about 25 colleges, and that's beyond what any parents may want to do with their child. Oh, this is UCLA, this is Art Institute of Chicago, this is Yale. Again, so schools you might have heard about, you might go, I think I really want to go there, and then you visit, and then you rule it in or rule it out. We totally believe in that. That's super important. This has turned out to be super critical, something we've done since our founding, visiting houses of worship to learn about people who have beliefs that might be the same as yours, but many of them are going to have beliefs that are different than yours, and you can respectfully learn, listen, and visit to them. It's incredibly powerful, and that's something that workforces are talking about in universities as the soft skills that are needed. You have to encounter and learn from people who are different than you. So a Lutheran church, Buddhist temple, job shadows, right, of all sorts of different types, so you can begin to rule in and rule out careers that might be compelling to you. And you can spend a day with an expert who would tell you, this is what the pathway means, and these are someone that you might want to talk to. And in our world today, the military is a big part of America. We're just making sure that you're cognizant and aware, and we make sure we visit a military installation every year so that our students know that firsthand. And we're at peace with the world also means if you're a good person, you serve your community and you work hard, you're really good at what you do, it's okay to not go to college, right? You just make sure you do the best that you can. So we're making sure that our students are learning about opportunities that exist both in our area or the greater South Carolina area for that. That is it. I've done my part. I'm going to turn this over to Sara Peck now. That's it. Thank you.
Hi guys, thanks for making the time for this morning. I'm hoping that a lot of the things that I'm going to talk to you about, you, at least if you're in high school, already know about. But we're going to talk about college advising here at the university school, which is very different than it is anywhere else for 2 reasons. 1, USL looks different than any other school, and 2, you as USL students look different than any other students. So we're kind of going to talk about how that's the case. Here at school, our advising does not begin when you're a senior. It is tailored and personalized to each individual high school student, and there's no software support. So instead of having a software system write all of our letters of recommendation, for instance, all of your teachers are writing them themselves, and not from knowing you after a semester, but for knowing you for, 7 years for the 2 of you. I think 7 years. And our preparation is both guided and holistic. There is no single focus. When you're looking at high achieving schools or schools that have really, really competitive acceptance rates, they all use a model called holistic admissions, and that's what we're really preparing you for here. And what that means is that we're not preparing you for just one single aspect of applying for college. We're preparing you academically, we're preparing you extracurricularly, we're preparing you when we're talking about service, and we're preparing you when we're talking about, Mr. Kreutner kind of touched on this, civility. An essay question that we see more and more and more is a version of, tell us about a time that you've disagreed with somebody and then how you got through it. They call this the difference question because colleges, above almost anything else right now, in addition to your grades, are looking for kindness. And that's how they're gauging it, is through your essays. And here at USL, we're preparing you for answering that question. You, as USL students, also look different. Most of our high school students follow what we call a 5 and 4 academic plan. That means you take all 5 core classes all 4 years. That means math, English, science, history, or social science, and a language all the way through. You have on-campus test prep with George Georges every year. You have multi-year practice. So most of you have not started taking the SAT when you're a junior. Most of you started taking it when you were in the 7th grade. So you know what the test looks like. You know how it feels to sit for that specific amount of time. And you know how to read your results so that you can adjust as you move on. You have a lot of opportunity to demonstrate personal interest through our dual enrollment program. You also have a lot of opportunity to create impact here. If you want a club that didn't exist, you can create it. If you want to take a class that we don't have here, we can help you take that class that you don't have here. You have a lot of opportunity to prove that you have agency in what you're learning and what you're doing, and colleges are very interested in that. When we talk about advising, I meet with all upper school students all year long. As you know, if you're a 9th or 10th grader, you see me once a week. And then I meet individually and in groups with seniors and juniors also every week. In these classes and one-on-one sessions, we cover a lot of things. It depends on what your grade is and like where you are and what you're thinking about for your future. But we talk about academic advising, what dual enrollment classes you should be taking, what those classes might contribute to an application. We prepare for and navigate taking those dual enrollment classes. We talk about how to explore your personal interests. We talk about local involvement and expanding job opportunities. We talk about passion projects, which is when you just create a thing all on your own because you like it. We talk about researching colleges, summer activities, creating a balanced college list, and then obviously the actual nitty-gritty of applying to school. We also spend a lot of time talking about the essays. The single most best way to bump an application up is through your essays, which are twofold when you're applying to college. You'll have a personal statement that goes to every single school you apply to, and then you'll have supplemental essays for most of your schools, and those are school-specific essays that you will write different versions of for every school you apply to. Those school-specific essays often ask why you want to go to school at that specific place, and then some of them have more fun questions too. Especially now, admissions officers are playing an increased amount of emphasis on these essays, and they're looking for highly specific, personalized work that's a true reflection of the student. I think sometimes we get in our heads that these essays have to be about like really, really unique experiences or like wild things you've seen or done or bad things that have happened to you, but it's not actually about that at all. It is not about the experience. It is about your perspective of the experience. You could truly write about going to the grocery store if your perspective on that trip to the grocery store was compelling and personal to you. Writing about yourself is really hard, especially for smart people. Writing about yourself is hard, and you guys are all smart. So we start really early. We have, as you know, English classes with a really heavy creative writing component that allows you to explore personal essay options. And then we do extra writing with me. So when a lot of your peers are writing about themselves in this like specific way for the very first time, their senior year, this is old news for you. You've already been doing this. Some of you have been doing it since the 6th grade. Both me and Mr. Kreutner talked about dual enrollment already, but so you already know this, but by your sophomore year, more than half of USL students have started taking dual enrollment classes at the College of Charleston, and by senior year, at least will have taken 2 courses there, American Government and Intro to Psychology. The intention of our dual enrollment program is not to move you through college faster. It's not to start college as a junior. It is truly practice and discovery. It does allow you to earn college credits, but more than that, it allows you to figure out what you like and how to do it. I started talking about holistic admissions a little bit, but a holistic review is a university admissions strategy that assesses an applicant's unique experiences alongside the traditional measures, like your grades and your SAT or your ACT scores. Most selective colleges in the United States use holistic admissions. Grade and test scores matter a lot, but the school also wants to know you as a whole person. The final admissions decision will be based on a combination of numerical and non-numerical information. I'm excited to tell you what this looks like from a college admissions standpoint is a skill wheel. It's not just numbers. They have their own skill wheels. We are really well positioned for this mode of assessment because you've seen a skill wheel, or 100 of them. Our advising includes a focus on grades and test prep, but they're not our only aims. We work hard to present the entire student, and a lot of this is done through your essays and through your letters of recommendation. Our student outcomes, from admission decisions to student well-being, prove that this is a successful route. All of our graduates thus far have graduated college in 4 years. We have not had any who have taken longer than that, even though the national average, I think at this point, is 6 years. We've also had no students transfer schools, which means that they have found themselves at the right place to begin with. And that's pretty exciting. Some small scale outcomes. You recognize this? Yeah. This year alone, seniors are set to apply to 70 different individual colleges. There are overlaps, but not that many because every student has prioritized their own individual goals and future plans. Sophomores have begun researching colleges. 9th and 10th graders just submitted writing to the New York Times Mini Memoir Student Contest. And our juniors are currently building personalized and balanced college lists, which will allow them to begin visiting campuses with their family by spring break. We've also all began making summer plans, from internships to jobs to passion projects. Here's an example of working through a college list. You can have top tier options, mid-tier options, and it would be cool if it wasn't in Ohio options. This is Luke's. Some big scale outcomes. When we look at standardized test scores, USL students are averaging roughly 300 points higher than CCSD students and roughly 200 points higher than South Carolina students on average. As I mentioned, 100% of USL graduates have matriculated to the university that is right for them. We've had no students transfer schools, and we have not had any students drop out. All students who have attended college in South Carolina have received, at minimum, the South Carolina Life Scholarship. All of our graduates have reported feeling super prepared in college and, on average, graduating in 4 years, like I mentioned. And we are gaining name recognition, which is hard and exciting that this is finally happening. In the last 3 years alone, our students have been accepted to a huge variety of institutions. I'm not going to read through this long list, but this is a tenth of it. When I say name recognition, what I mean is that competitive schools now know what a USL student looks like because we've had enough students go through the application process and impress them. So we're becoming increasingly more of a known entity, and our reputation in a very, very good way for you is beginning to precede ourselves, which is pretty exciting. And I think that covers it. Thanks, guys.